Well, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Julian. I don't really have a name for any of this that we're doing right now or anything like that. It's my very first time attempting to do any type of video or anything like this. I'm a little nervous, but I'm just gonna rock with it. I'm always talking to myself about the Bills, so might as well share with other people. So hopefully you guys like the content. Maybe you'll come back for more. Today we're just gonna be talking about some of the Bills offseason acquisitions, and maybe we'll get into some of the preseason storylines. But I'm thinking I'll save that for another video. I wanted to start with one of the biggest offseason acquisitions of of any team, and that's Von Miller. I can't remember a bigger offseason signing in my life. You could argue Mario Williams may have been bigger, but I don't know if it's just because I was younger and I wasn't paying as close of attention. I could remember T.O. a little bit. I remember being a little starstruck about that. That was pretty amazing. But even at the time, because of the position the actual team was in, it just didn't feel like it was that big because I didn't know how it would lead to winning. This is big. This is a bona fide future Hall of Famer joining the team during its Super Bowl window. This is the best offseason acquisition I've ever seen in my life. Of course, the main thing that a lot of people are talking about, is the fact that he's going to come in. He's going to be the closer for us. The Bills the last couple of years really have not had an issue getting QB pressures. We've been able to get after the quarterback. The issue is we haven't been able to get him down. So, what's the solution? We've tried a whole lot of things. We've drafted a bunch of DNs. We've went after free agents like Trent Murphy and Mario Addison and F.A. Obata and guys like that, and it just hasn't worked. We they obviously value that position. At one time the Bills had the highest paid offensive defensive line, so they obviously value the position. And for them to be able to get a guy like Von Miller, not only for what he's going to provide on the field, which the production, especially in the second half of the year last year, was just crazy. He's still a top five defensive end by all numbers. Um, but equally as important is what he's going to bring to the locker room, specifically for those young DNs. AJ Epinesa, who I think could really benefit from a Von Miller, Boogie Basham, Gregory Rousseau. Uh, those guys are going to benefit from having a first ballot Hall of Famer on their team. It's the Password Summit every day. That's pretty nice. So yeah, Von Miller definitely an A+ signing. That's amazing. We'll move on to offensive lineman Roger Saffold. Um, which to me is another big get. One of the biggest weaknesses of the Bills the last 2 years has been the interior offensive line. It's been a weakness. Now, you know, it's a if that's like one of your big weaknesses, you're pretty good. Oh, they can use another guard. That's a pretty good spot to be in. But it was still a weakness nonetheless, and it was something that was really affecting us. You know, all the uncertainty. I saw something the other day that said that the Bills had a different starting lineup 8 of the 17 games this past year. So hopefully a guy like Roger Saffold can come in and create a little bit more stability. I think right there that's a plug and play starting offensive guard. So if he's healthy, which fingers crossed he'll be healthy, he's starting every week. There's no shuffling in and out based on who's playing well this week and that week, and Feliciano's struggling this week, and you know if this guy's healthy, he's starting, and he's probably a tier two interior offensive lineman in this league, which is a big step up from where we were starting last year. Fantastic. Roger Stafford, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, my computer's doing something weird. Okay. So, next person we'll move on to. I'm sorry, guys. My computer is just being so weird. Next, we'll move on to the interior defensive line. And we got a trio of guys we'll talk about here. We have Tim Settle, Daquan Jones, and Jordan Phillips. Now, to me, Tim Settle and Daquan Jones are the big gets. Are the big gets here, especially like a guy like Daquan Jones. I mean, one of the biggest weaknesses of the Bills. I know I keep saying one of the biggest weaknesses. They weren't a very, I don't want to say tough, but they were a bit more finesse the last couple years. And Roger Saffold and this guy Daquan Jones, two guys actually from the Titans. If you know a little bit about how the Titans like to operate with Derrick Henry, a couple guys from the Titans, but Daquan Jones, when it comes to filling your gap, taking on double teams, not getting pushed back into linemen. Yeah, I mean, just being able to take on multiple guys and hold up multiple guys, it's a huge asset. I mean, that's why they paid Star Lotulelei all that money those years ago to come here and do that. And most of us were like, hey, like, why are we paying this guy all this money to just be a brick wall? It's because it's not that easy to do in the NFL. So when you're able to get a guy like Daquan Jones or a guy like Tim Settle, I mean, Tim Settle, nothing but stars on that defensive line. I mean, they didn't really play that great last year, but nothing but stars on that defensive line. And just he just found a way to get on the field. And amongst all that, he was able to let his light shine, and we were able to scoop him up. I know Washington really wanted him back, but Big Ball and Bean was able to get it done. And then we move on to Jordan Phillips, who obviously was here a couple years ago. Played great. What do you have? 9 sacks from the interior defensive line. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now he's been hurt the last couple years, from my understanding, and when he has been on the field, he's mostly been out of position. I guess he's played nose tackle for the most part in their defense, which I believe is a 3-4. So, he's actually got decent numbers for the last couple years as well. But he knows what he needs to do in this system. We are comfortable with his skill set and what he needs to do. So, I think it's another match made in heaven, and I think he's really gonna help. I don't think he's gonna have an issue making the team. But we'll see. Yeah, there's gonna be a bit of a battle there. Next guy I want to talk about just a bit is Duke Johnson, and that's really just more so to signify the type of running back they were. I mean, they act like they were dying to get that guy. I mean, they started out with J.D. McKissick, and obviously that didn't work out, and Bean was a tad upset with how that went down. But we were obviously looking for a guy that was really able to catch the ball out of the backfield. And yeah, we'll see what happens with Duke Johnson. Maybe he'll make the team. He probably is gonna have to edge out Zach Moss if he wants to make the team. Singletary, I think, is a lock. James Cook, obviously, is a lock. He's not going to make it to our practice squad, and they're not just going to lose him. So, lock. So, that running back room is interesting, and obviously this is a whole different type of conversation. But yeah, Zach Moss, him, Tywon Jones, you know, we'll have to see what they want to do, what they want to do there. I'm not sure if Duke Johnson plays special teams, but that'll be a big part of it because we know Zach Jones, or I'm sorry, Zach Moss doesn't play special teams. Okay, yeah. So moving on to OJ Howard, who is a polarizing acquisition to me anyway, uh, because he's just supposed to be better than he is. Um, Bottom line, which I mean, there's been a lot of guys who are supposed to be better than they are in life. A lot of us are like that. So, I mean, a guy that's got all the talent in the world, he is, I mean, gigantic. And one of the big takeaways that Josh had during one of the early, um, off-season sessions was, yo, this guy's huge. I mean, I feel bad for whoever has to tackle him when they're coming at him with a full head of steam. This guy's just gigantic, but yeah, just hasn't really been able to put it all together in terms of his blocking, his route running, his catching, um, and his big time playmaking ability. He just hasn't been able to put it all together, even though he has all the tools. Which is why a guy like that is so frustrating, but also so exciting for what he really could bring. So I'm excited for OJ Howard. I'm really excited to see how they use him. I think that's maybe even more exciting. Like, because if they're gonna use OJ Howard, that they're gonna be in 12 personnel a good amount. They're gonna have two tight ends on the field because you're not gonna take Dawson Knox off the field to put OJ Howard on the field. So if he's gonna be playing, that means they're gonna be in 12 personnel, which I think is interesting. Obviously we want the focus to stay on the wide receivers. We've had one of the most productive wide receiver corps in the entire league the last couple of years, and we want that to stay the case. But we also don't want to have one of the least productive tight end rooms in the league, which has also been the case the last couple of years. So, hopefully he can provide a dynamic aspect that Tommy Sweeney wasn't able to last year, and yeah, I think it's a for the money. He's making a good amount of money, but still for the money, I think it's definitely a great risk. Um, okay, we gotta hurry it up a little bit, guys. Now, the next guy we're gonna talk about is Jamison Crowder. I actually think Jamison Crowder is the most underrated offseason acquisition, and it's funny because it didn't start off that way. Originally, everybody was like, "Oh, what a great signing! I mean, this is a perfect replacement for Cole Beasley, and I mean, it's a one for one kind of thing." And originally, I was pushing back. I was like, "Hey, come on, guys! I mean, Cole Beasley was an All Pro in 2020, an All Pro, in 2020. Um, those are big shoes to fill. Can't say that." But now it's almost seemed like it's gone too far in the opposite direction, where people are questioning whether he's even going to make the team. Which of course there's not too many people questioning that, I know, but I've heard people say, "Oh, I won't be surprised if." I would be shocked if Jamison Crowder was not on this team. Um, I, he's coming to the Bills 1 year younger than Cole Beasley did in 2019 when he came. 1 year younger and actually a lot more productive. So I'm not saying it's going to be a one for one kind of thing. I wouldn't disrespect Beasley like that, but I do think we got ourselves a guy here, ladies and gentlemen. I think he's really going to be big time for this offense, especially on third down. I think he's going to be big time. So, Jamison Crowder. And then last but certainly not least, the great Matt Barkley, who is probably projected to be the third string quarterback. Not a guy I'm expecting to be on the 53-man roster, obviously. He'll be cut. He'll be on the practice squad. He's been bouncing around on practice squads last year. He bounced around between maybe 3 practice squads, I believe. So he'll be on the practice squad, and it's it's great to have that smile back in back in Buffalo. So that's the free agency acquisitions. So we'll move on to the draft picks, which that's always exciting, right? So I mean I was actually doing a lot of draft prep, and when I say draft prep, I mean listening to guys on the radio talk about the draft. Not actually me doing anything, but obviously we there was a lot of whispers about one Brees Hall and the Bills are going to draft Brees Hall. A lot of national people saying that anyway. There wasn't a whole lot of local people. You weren't hearing Sal Capaccio saying that. None of those guys. But a lot of chatter about Brees Hall. A lot of wide receiver chatter, which that was more that was more us driven, of course, just because wide receivers are more fun to talk about. So why not talk about them drafting one? But ultimately, they ended up going with what I think was probably the bigger need between the three positions. Um, and I'm sure what ended up being the best prospect they had on the board, which Brandon Bean said, and I'm just going to take him at his word because I don't think he's really lied to us really in the past. So, they get a guy uh, by the name of Kyrie Elam, who I was not familiar with pre-draft. I don't think I had heard his name until the Bills called it, which just lets you know how locked in I was. And I was actually pretty locked in, but yeah, Elam was not a guy that was on my radar. I was more so locked in on a guy like Kyler Gordon, and it's not because of any research or anything like that I've done. That's just because of what I've been hearing. So they go with a guy like Elam, and you're like, "Whoa, really? Who's that? That's so interesting." Um, and you start to hear him talk, and you start to hear his teammates and his coaches and our scouts and Brandon and Sean, and you start to hear how they speak about him, and you're just like, of course that's who they drafted. It's just so funny. Once, every time they draft somebody, you're just like, oh, of course. Yeah, that's all. That's exactly who we're gonna draft. Um, but with Kyrie Elam, it was actually kind of like, oh yeah, of course, like of course that's who they drafted. I mean, everybody knows the famous "This is my notebook. I write down everything that's ever happened to me here." Everybody knows that, and everybody's like, "Oh, is he capping or is like he's no, he's really like that. He's really like that." Um, you hear Micah Hyde talking about the guy, saying like he's taking mental notes. Everything I say, you can tell he's taking it to heart. He's taking mental notes. A lot of guys comparing him to Tre'Davious on and off the field. On the field, in terms of his fluidity, the way he's able to break on balls and his ball skills, and um, off the field, just in terms of the way he learns, the way that he just wants to be great. And that will to not let anything that you have control over come in between you and your greatness. So Kyler Elam, spent a lot of time on him. Great pick. A guy that I have all the faith in. I think we got a dog. I think we got somebody that from day one is gonna be a stud in this league. I think this guy is destined for greatness, and yeah, hopefully I'm speaking it to his existence. Yeah, next guy, James Cook. We get the running back that we wanted for us that wanted running backs, whom I really wasn't one, but since we got one, great. I mean, the one word that comes to mind when somebody says James Cook is dynamic. A threat to take it to the house from anywhere on the field, and um, it, these are exactly the things we've been saying we've wanted the last two off seasons since last off season. We wanted a guy that was an actual threat to take it to the house off a pitch, off a swing pass. And we actually got a little bit more than that. It's one thing to, be fast and be able to take it to the house like that. It's a whole other thing to be able to split out wide and run routes. That's a whole nother dimension that this offense has now with James Cook. And yeah, we gained 2 picks to get him, actually, too. Somebody that allows us to be able to get Khalil Shakir. So another guy that, he's not going to have as much usage as a Kaiir Elam, who, at the end of the day could end up playing 95% of the snaps or something like that if he's big time. If we compare him to Tre'Davious in 2017, which I don't know what his snap share was, but he was a CB1. And if Trey's going to be out a bit, which he probably will, and even if he's not going to come back and play 100% of the snaps. Then yeah, Elam's going to get a big share. So Cook's not going to be near that. He's going to be sharing time with Singletary, and we'll see what Zach Moss looks like. Apparently Zach is looking healthy. He didn't have the rehab or anything this offseason, so I guess he's looking pretty good. So we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, James Cook adds a dynamic element to this offense that we did not have previously. Terrell Bernard, this guy, they're showing the highlights, and I'm a linebacker. This guy looks like a safety. But supreme athleticism, sideline to sideline linebacker, exactly what the Bills would be looking for in their defense in 2022. Something to put across all these guys that they're going to be going against in the position. These guys that the Jets and the Dolphins are putting out there now, they are athletic and fast, and we're going to need draft picks, so we're going to need players now and in the future that can keep up with that. That's why you draft guys like Elam right at a 4.38 40, and guys like Bernard who are just able to be all over the place. Sideline to sideline linebacker. You need guys like that in today's NFL to go against a Tyreek Hill and a Jalen Watt. I know he's not going to be lining up against them, but you need a guy that can go sideline to sideline quick, and he can do that. He's going to add a big element on special teams. He'll play a lot of special teams, so I'm excited to see what else he offers to this defense. Khalil Shakir, who seems to be one of the crown jewels of this draft, according to a lot of smart pundits. So Shakir also is probably the guy who we gave up the most capital to get. Obviously we gave up a 4th round pick for Elam. So maybe that's worse. I don't have like a draft value index in front of me. But when you watch this guy, he can get loose. He adds something, in terms of run after catch that we don't have a whole lot of. I actually heard people comping him to Diggs. Shortly after, I also heard people saying he's really strictly a slot player. So I don't know how those two things go together. But I think one of those things is not right. I think it's the second. Because he's going to play probably primarily in the slot, but I think this guy is going to be all over. I think he's going to be all over. I think they're going to have him learn all the spots, similar to what they had Gabriel Davis doing his rookie year in 2020. You know, what was John Brown saying in 2020? Like, Gabriel Davis is teaching me the offense. And I've already been here for a year. I can see Khalil Shakir being a guy like that. You know, listen to him speak. He's so smart. All these guys sound like they've been in the league for years. All these guys that they drafted, and that's by design. Like that, this there is a formula to this McBean process. So Khalil Shakir is no exception to that, and I'm really excited to see what he offers to this offense. Um, got a few more minutes here, guys. Round 6, Matt Areza. I am still trying to get clarification on how to say his name. I believe it's Areza. It may be Ariza, but we'll go with Areza for now. That's how I've heard most people pronouncing it. Well, most people just decide to say Punk God. We won't be saying that here. Only because, one, it doesn't seem like he actually likes that nickname. Seems like he actually really does not like that. But two, let's at least wait till he actually wins the job. He still has to beat Matt Hawk, which I don't expect him to have a whole lot of issues doing. But there's more to punting than just kicking far. And I mean, far be it from me to explain all the ins and outs of punting, but I know it's not just punting far. So, again, I have all the faith in the world in these guys just because of who picked them. You know, I've heard him talk. I know he's got a great work ethic. You know, he's gonna work hard. He's gonna do everything that he needs to do to get himself ready and to be the best partner he can be. So, yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah, Christian Benford is the next draft pick. Christian Benford. Now, Benford is interesting because he offers a type of position flexibility that none of the other draft picks really do. I'm sure they're flexible, but a guy like Christian Benford, I mean, I don't know if he's gonna play boundary corner. I don't know if he's gonna play slot corner. You know, the Bills were talking about maybe having him at safety, like Micah Hyde, corner to safety switch. I mean, this guy could be all over, especially his first year. But he definitely is going to offer a big upside on special teams. The Bills love getting these guys late in the draft that can really contribute on special teams. I mean, but who knows? I mean, these fifth and sixth round picks, they've been gold for the Bills. Guys like Taron Johnson and Saran Neal. I mean, even guys that they traded away like Bam Johnson, you know, you got value for. So, I think these next few draft picks we're gonna be talking about are gonna be guys that we're gonna be talking about for a while. I think there's gonna be some talented guys, and I think Benford's gonna be one of them. You know, at the very least, he's going to be a special teams guy going forward that we can really trust. But yeah, we'll see how that develops. Offensive lineman Luke Tenuta is the next draft pick we're going to talk about. Don't have a whole lot of commentary on a lot of these upcoming guys we're going to talk about, only because I mean I didn't even know the first few round picks. I definitely don't know any of these guys. But I do know this is another towering tackle. This guy's huge. You know, similar to Doyle and Spencer Brown. You know, obviously he doesn't have the athletic profile of a Spencer Brown. But then again, not a whole lot of guys do. He's a developmental guy. You know, I'm sure he'll be a practice squad guy. I don't think he's going to have any issues getting to the practice squad. I don't believe. You know, we did have two guys poached last year. But, yeah, as for right now, he's just going to be a developmental tackle guy. Maybe see if he can play some special teams. But, yeah, excited for his future. Next guy is Balin Spector from Clemson. Now, I've heard this is a fiery guy. He's got some fire in him. But yeah, now this is a guy that might push some people out the door. Him and Benford. When you talk about guys like Tyler Matakevich or Taiwan Jones, when you talk about guys like that, guys that are getting paid strictly for special teams, this roster is getting to a point where you may not be able to pay a whole bunch of guys to just be on here for special teams. Josh's salary is about to balloon to 40 something million dollars. Stephon Diggs' salary is about to balloon to 20 something million dollars. Gabriel Davis might be about to get paid. Dawson Knox is about to get paid. Ed Oliver is about to get paid. Jordan Poyer, he's gonna get paid at some point. They're either gonna come to some sort of understanding, before the season starts, or they're gonna work out something after the season. Something's gonna happen there. But yeah, with the payroll is getting expensive, and it's a great problem to have. We have so many good players, but with that, we're just gonna have to say goodbye to some of these guys. And with guys like Saran Neal, who's a draft pick of the Bills, getting paid, some of these special team only guys are gonna start fading away, which really makes guys like Balin Spector and Christian Benford important. So Spector is a guy I'm excited about, and I actually think he has high end special teams importance this year in 2022. So that's that, guys. I appreciate you stopping by. This is my very first video. It's actually like 2:05 in the morning. Why am I doing that right now? I don't know. It's just fun. Nothing else to do, and I'm on vacation. So, yeah, I will try and start uploading regularly. I'm gonna try and get like a format. Um, yeah, especially when training camp starts, it's gonna be on. So, I appreciate you guys checking out for now, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.